Welcome back to another Broker to Broker podcast, everyone. My name is Mark Summers. I'm the president of AIM. So happy to be here today with our special guest. Really excited as always. I know I probably sound like a rerun, but at the same time, I'm really excited to hear what our guest has to say, and the fact that this is the beautiful thing about our community is that we're helping each other. And I know my next guest here, Joe Green, will definitely be helping us today. So Joe Green here is a mortgage broker for what is it, Joe? Mortgage broker at Green Mortgage Solutions, correct?
That's right.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I know we're going to have some fun here, so let's just hop right into it, which is, how did you get into this crazy world of mortgages?
Well, it's a good story to be.
Hit me.
So what happened is back in around 2003, I got fired from a job in retail, and I picked up another little job in retail, hustling furniture. And I was working the floor, and I got recruited off the floor to go to work for a small company called AmeriQuest.
Oh yeah, I remember them.
I remember them, the subprime days. So I basically got put into like a boiler room type situation, and I mean it was better than hawking furniture. And that's how basically I learned. That's where I learned about loans, and from there, I went to work. I left there. This is around 2003. Things are cooking pretty good, and from there I went to work. I got recruited out of there to go to work for a little broker shop local to me. I'm in the Sacramento area, so this was in Roseville, and I just kind of bounced around from broker to broker for a while, and then I got the big ideas like, why make all these guys all this money? I'm going to go out on my own. Had perfect timing. Was like July 2007 or something.
Oh yeah,
I just was going to strike it big. And what happened there was the market imploded. Yep. And we couldn't have timing, the worst timing. And so basically from there, I just I went back to retail. Could not make it go on my own, especially just did not have the wherewithal. So I was out of the business. I really wasn't planning on coming back after that, and I was working retail, and I was absolutely hating, a job I actually used to kind of love. And I ran into a guy I used to work with, and this was when the HARP refinances were starting to come back, and people were, they were starting to make a little bit of money. And he's like, yeah, you should come back. It's starting to get good again. And I said, what the hell? And it was so different because now I had to get licensed and do all these classes and stuff. But I went for it. And I went to work with the same company, my buddy Conrad, and he was working for Direct Lender at the time. And it was real slow. It was it was May of 2013 when I came back, and it was super slow for me. It took like 18 months to get it going, but I really believed it. I saw what other guys were doing, and I just thought, give me a little time, build up a network, and we'll get this going. And I just didn't give up. And the big difference between last time, and this time was like, I wasn't changing shops, just because somebody dangled some sort of carrot in front of me. I'm just like, I'm gonna, wherever because we get the idea grass is always greener on the other side. Well, I just got the idea this time grass is greener. So I just stuck it out. I started just working on building up, referrals and partners, and just slowly by little started to happen. And then it happened to the point of the end of 2019 where, we were going to go out on our own and, just come to work for a broker, not be with a direct lender anymore. A lot of people have left the shop I was working at, and COVID hit. And even though we had our plan in place, so we were going to be out by April 2020, we ended up being out by September of 2020. So we've been, doing this gig here, on our own since September 2020. And it's the funny thing is, hard work, perseverance, taking a chance. That's all part of, being successful, and a little bit of good timing, because timing was horrible. And, when I went out on my own back in 2007 or whatever that was. And this time it was COVID, and it was a little refinance boom, and we were established, and, kind of the rest is history. Like, our timing was I like to call it God's timing was perfect.
It was. I mean, there a lot of people were, while a lot of people were losing jobs, the mortgage industry was thriving, and it was a
Yeah.
good time to be in it. So, okay, so you're at Green Mortgage Solutions right now. Tell me a little bit about your shop. How many people you have there? Processing
Yeah.
operations. What do you look like?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's me and my wife. Okay. That's who started the deal, and she's been really instrumental in helping me grow my business from the time she came on, which was, I don't know, 2016 or so, while we're still at the other company.
Mhm.
We've since added a processor. We have a loan officer assistant who's working on getting her own license. She'll go out on her own, but we're helping her make the transition. And she's brought in a decent amount of business herself. So basically, right now, there's four of us, running the shop for the most part.
Perfect, perfect. And then, like,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, that's great that you get to work with your wife, and I know we'll dive into that a little bit
Yep.
later. But
Yeah, sure.
talk to me about like when you started, what was probably one of your biggest hurdles? Because I know what you just came up on your 1 year anniversary, but what do you think was your biggest hurdle?
In coming into the broker world or
No,
just in
when
the
you
loan
started
world in
your own,
general?
when you started your own.
Yeah, literally when I came in, I mean, I hadn't been in the business for a really long while. And so, I had to, the company I went for, they would provide leads, very few leads. And so that was key, like without any, so that was part of it. But, so that was instrumental, but I mean, it was really slow. Like, it was a ramp up, a very slow ramp up. And what happened was these guys started, the company I was working for decided, they were opening up, they were getting licensed in other states. So every time, and they were doing a lot of radio ads. So, okay, hey, we're going into Utah. Okay, boom, I got my license and I knew the radio ads. And so I started to build up, some clients and in these ways. So I ended up having 4 licenses in other states that was, instrumental in building my business. And, then I had a couple friends that were realtors and like, would give me a little crack here and there with a client and all that kind of stuff snowballed. And then, you have your little circles of influence and people find out what you're doing and, they give you a crack and then, that turns into a referral or a refi, let's say they give you a crack on a purchase, they give you a refinance and it just, I don't know, it just kind of built up over time, of how I was able to, really get it going. But it was really like the first 18 months, the first 6 months, I think I made $18,000. And I was like, man, and I was going through a divorce and a bunch of other stuff. So it was just really challenging time, but perseverance stuck it out. And then, we started to gain a lot of traction. And the goal was to close 4 loans a month. Okay. And, it took a minute to hit that number, and I thought 4 loans was a good number if I could hit that. And then I was like, okay, coming through this divorce and financial kind of wreckage and child support and all this stuff, I was telling like a mentor of mine, I'm like, God, if I could just get to 100K a year, I'd be happy, right? And he's like, well, why not 200? I'm like, yeah, why not 200? And like he planted that seed, and I was like, okay, and we kind of hit that number, and it was just like, honestly, it's been no looking back since like that small conversation I had with him, and I met my wife, and she was actually going through a divorce and she was a stay-at-home mom. And to pick up some money, she was cold calling. She was working for an insurance guy who was placing ads, and she was literally like in Florida. So people that would still read the paper, elderly type people that would call in to try to set appointments. And she would get these random calls. We'd be whatever out on a date and she'd get a random call. I want to talk to you about your insurance, and she would literally convert it to appointment. And I was like, wow, you're good, like, and I saw it multiple times. Like this person you don't even know, you've totally built trust and converted an appointment for an insurance agent you don't even know, right?
Right.
I was like, God, I wonder if I could have you do something like that, because I started to build up a database, and I talked my boss into bringing her on, and she just exploded our business really by, I had somebody doing up the marketing stuff while I was, working kind of the loan piece of it. So we just kind of built up a formidable marketing system with her,
Yeah. Yeah.
really.
It sounds good. So you would say you're mainly referral. Would you say you're mainly referral based?
Yeah. Yeah. Now 100% referral based, really. So part of the risk taking that I did, back at the other places. I did buy leads. We died bit. We took a chance. We spent money and bought Zillow leads and all kinds of stuff, and we would convert them into purchase business, and you know, it seemed really expensive at the time, but over time, all those leads are still paying for themselves that we converted to clients. They turned into clients, and they've since refinanced or traded up or referred other people. But we haven't had to put out that expenditure in quite some time. And that's going to be there in my back pocket if things ever turn. But like our funnels are really firing right now, and they have been really since we got here to the
Yeah.
broker. You know.
So okay, so tell me where would you say the majority of your referrals come from where you say, "Hey, listen, I know I got this in my back pocket at all times." Is it accountants? Is it
Mhm.
I mean, where's it
Yeah,
where
yeah.
from?
So, I mean, definitely realtors, are, our number one referrals, particularly for purchases. But I got a realtor who, I've probably done more refinances for our clients than we've ever done purchase business together. And I picked up this realtor, just by killing it. She was on the listing side of a transaction, and relationship went sour with her lender. And from that day on, she calls me her favorite lender. And she had a long term relationship. And so like realtors are, definitely on the purchase side of things. For me, I need to have that realtor. And next is we have a pretty strong, I guess I'll call it sphere of influence friends. We're pretty active in our communities around here, so that's the thing about my wife. She grew up in Folsom. Her brother's in Folsom. There's been so much business, through her mom and her brother and stuff that's come in that way, and just our community in general. I got a loan that's closing today that's a friend. I got a refinance that's signing today that's a friend. It's just like, our friends definitely know what we're doing for a living, and they trust us. That's really important because if your friends don't trust you and stuff. So we do multiple transactions. I do have my financial planner is a good source of referrals. We've closed deals, that he's referred to us, and I've referred people back to him that need to set up a revenue stream because they don't qualify. And, they're maybe retired and they just draw as needed from their retirement accounts. So I get to give it back to him, and he hands it back to me and refers other clients who he because he looks at their mortgage statements and whatnot. Um, and so yeah, those are just a few of the funnels that are firing off.
Those are some good funnels to have, Joe. Let's just say
Definitely.
that. So, the one thing that I think we always have, the upper hand on, we'll call it, the mega retail lenders, the banks and whatnot, is what we do within our community. And it seems like your sphere is pretty close here. So what do you do within your local community? How do you become a part of it and know that, Green Mortgage Solutions is here to help and support the community?
Yeah, well, when we came over, the first thing we did was like in Folsom, particularly, we took out an ad, just took out like a nice half page ad and put it out there. We're in the broker world now, just kind of get the word around, and just see where that went. With that, just to kind of get the word. But this is where really the wife comes in. We did mailers, old school stuff. Hey, we're moving, this is where we're at now. Obviously our cell phone, is key just to let people know. And then one thing we picked up from the other company was our CRM, Surefire. So we had to set up a whole new system, but we uploaded all that data that we had that we built up with, a decent amount of names. We pinged, emails and different things like that. So, we definitely got the word out, Facebook and all social media type stuff. I'm not like a huge technology guy. I'm pretty old school, I'm old, Matt, the mortgage guy. He's like got the YouTubes, he's got the
Yeah.
cameras, he's generating all kinds of ways that I probably will never get into, but this is what's working for us, it's just, we just spread the word, kind of old school ways, and then just picked up the ball and ran with it, as people call in and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, and that's awesome. So with all these multiple referral funnels that you have, how do you balance them out? Or like this is where I've had many conversations with people, all of our members across the country, which is okay. So I have a referral source over here, but then I have another one here. Like, do you actually write them down, or how do you balance all of that?
Mm. I mean, I definitely know who they are. I think the thing that has made me, uh, I mean, the balance is in the communication for me. So it's not like, and especially since COVID, before we used to like meet up, take go out to lunch, have a cup of coffee, do whatever, and try to set up, appointments. That stopped really when in the early parts of the pandemic. So really, it's just about staying, in front of them, the communication, talking to them, seeing, checking in, different things like that, and I definitely like, and the, you have your top, so you want to keep those people, close. And then my strategy for getting in new referral partners is just um, making sure on the other side of the transaction that communication is like, hey, here's where we're at. We just sent out disclosures. Their loans in initial approval. I'll let you know. Their initial underwrite. I'll let you know when I have that approval. Let them know when the CD's out. And like that's how I've picked up some of my best agents is just being on the other side of that. So I just try to bring in a couple more people, and once I close 2 or 3 with them, it's like it's almost a wrap as far as just because of the service piece. And that really goes back to the retail career, like, just having accessibility, like I have a retailer, hey, I need a letter, sorry to bother you on a weekend. And I'm like, oh, it's no bother at all, always available for you and your clients. That particular realtor too, she introduced me to another agent earlier this year. They had a deal that was falling out. One of my referral partners, the listing, the sales, the seller, the buyer's agent wanted to cancel. And she's like, no, she wouldn't let her cancel. She goes, talk to my lender, please. Just talk to my lender. I want your client to get this house, and talk to him, save the deal. And I've probably closed 3 purchases with that listing agent since then. So
Really?
it wasn't just like your, one off, I got a buyer and I got them into a house. This lady had clients, and I've closed. Yeah. And it's been amazing. And so here's what happens. I close one, I save that deal. She refers me to a client. We close it. It's a VA deal, right?
Hmm.
This guy's friends with his neighbor who's in contract on a VA deal. He's in contract. And the guy, we got him like clear to close in like 10 days or something. And they had like this long escrow period. And he's telling his neighbor, hey, I'm just waiting to close, I'm twiddling my thumbs. And this guy's already having issues in underwriting. And this guy's a perfect borrower. There's no way he should have any issues. He's with a direct lender, by the way, who's got all these layers of stuff, right?
Right.
The guy calls me up. Hey, you just did a loan for my neighbor, and I'm wondering if you can help me. He was actually a cleaner borrower than the other guy.
That's even
So,
better.
yeah. And so like because of that, like I didn't even know these 2 agents, and they're like, they're nervous, like, oh, you're picking this up like, 10 days into the escrow. I'm like, no worries. This guy's perfect. We'll have him closed by, and we closed him, we were supposed to close on the 19th and we closed him on the 16th. And,
Success.
and it's just, so it's like, boom, 2 new agents. And what happened? His agent sees me on an introduction to a new client.
Really?
A lot of VA clients because it's down by an air base down in near Vacaville. I'm like, wow. And so it's just the power of taking care of people,
Yeah. I mean, it seems like to me we'll call it the feather in your cap is your communication that you seem to have with, even if it's not your client or even if it's not your realtor that you're dealing with. I mean, your communication is spot on, and that's how you're able to gain more referrals.
It's without a question, like, it's not, and it builds like a level of trust, like before today, man, I had to have this call with a bar, like, hey, like I cannot get this loan approved, so we can either eject, it's a purchase, right, or you can let me take another crack now that I've kind of, it was a little bit of a challenging file. And so like now that I've kind of figured out how to position the loan, like, hey, let's just, and I didn't want to have this call because everything going into Friday was like, hey, get me this and this, and we should get our approval. And I don't get that this morning. Like I thought I was going to walk into the approval. It's like, oh, the loan still won't approve. I'm like, I'm tired of trying to manipulate the system with them. And it's like, I'm going to start fresh. I kind of know. And it's just like, this guy is like expected him to go off on me, right? But like he's built up this sort of trust with me. I'm like, we're gonna get you this house, or it's the goal, and I'm gonna, and all the easy ones make up for the ones where you don't. But you gotta, I tell you, between 2003 and 2007, like I wasn't mature enough to have those conversations, and I would sit on them and sit on them until there was no choice, how am I going to figure this out? I'm like, no, I'm not going to figure it out. We just need to have that clear communication, tell the borrower what's up. And, and if it's dead, it's dead. Or if it's like, hey, let's take one more crack at this,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
now
I
I
mean,
can position
no one wants to give bad news, but just
it.
get
Yep.
it done with. Just get it done with. The faster, the better. Just
And I have a better day when I do that. So it's really like selfishly, because like if I'm waiting till like 4 o'clock and I'm trying to work on other stuff, I'm not concentrating, and then and that's all stuff I learned, that's over time, just but that stuff will be, he'll have a kid that's gonna buy it, it's gonna be like, and he works with other people and it's just how it happens. Like it and being in the broker world, and when I first got here, I was like, we were closing all these really smoking rates compared to direct lender, and be like, I'd literally close a guy and his sister would call or some, you know what I mean, and just be like, wow. So, remember I said I wanted to get the 4 loans when I first was starting, and then we wanted to
yeah,
get to 6 and 8, and then we came over here and we wanted to get to like 10, and that was just like we're cracking off 10, no problem. And then when I started the year out, I was like, okay, if we can average 12 a month, I think we already got 24 in the bucket, done,
that's
with
awesome.
another 15 in the pipe or something, still, and December hasn't even started yet,
Yeah.
And
And this is usually historically slower times, but it hasn't been for the past few years.
yeah, it's weird. So with the purchase market, okay, because we're still doing a lot of purchases, thankfully, because I think we're going to have to be active purchase now, so that when the refinance thing does dry up a little bit, we haven't lost our realtor relationship. So if you're out there and you have not been aggressively going after your realtors or staying in good communication with them, and you're just working on those refinances because they're so easy, there may be a price to pay for that, in my opinion. But what's happening here, we've had all these Bay Area transplants and they're paying cash, and the workplace is changing, people are getting to stay, so they're leaving, right? These big expensive cities. So we've been blessed with people moving in. But what's happening is I think that's kind of slowing down a little bit. But all my clients who've been trying to get into contract, like through the summer and early spring, who couldn't, are now getting in contract. And it's, so we're seeing that. So, October, November, December are actually some going to be my biggest purchase months of the year. When it's traditionally, April, May, June, July, August, it starts to slow because people are already back to school and stuff like that.
Right.
It's really weird how the market is behaving,
Yeah. Oh, it definitely is. And I tell people all the time, our business has to be predicated off of, it has to be purchases. I mean, it just has to be. And then
Yep.
you do get those refis, those are just gravy. Just that's what you go, as I like to call fun money. That's
Yep.
your fun money right there. Go do that. So it's important because, not only, and I take it a step further all the time, not only is it important for our business, but also we help consumers the best. So the more people that we can help put into homes, the better.
Absolutely. Yep. And part of one of the ways we built our business was I got really good at down payment assistance. Okay.
Okay.
And we got so good at it that we made the preferred lender list of Cal Half out here in California, in a few different counties. And we were starting to get, that was another funnel source for a while. And we were getting a lot of leads off of that. And we were converting them, and they were getting into houses, and I haven't done one in a while, but all those people have now been refinanced. They've paid back their Cal Halfa. They've
Mhm.
dropped their mortgage insurance. And it's just like, they took this chance with you, and now they're your client for life, and they're a new referral source for you. And now, 2 or 3 years are like, well, dang, man, maybe I could sell. Like I got my guy today, right now. He's going to hopefully be clear to close on a home, that he's going to put 20% down on a house he got with down payment assistance.
Wow.
And those are stories now that I get to share with new clients that are like, hey, maybe I was telling my wife, like, we need to try to get back into helping, because that was like a passion, like helping new people become homeowners.
Yeah.
And it still is, but now I'm like, especially through the early parts of the pandemic, like, hey, look, down payment assistance, you're not going to get your offer accepted when there's 20 other offers, and we can't meet the timelines, and it's not going to happen. So we got to dig deep. What do you got in a 401k? What do you got? Who in your family can help you out? And then later on, you can strategize how to make it right with them and play your 401k back or whatever. But now I'm seeing with a little bit of a market shift, like actually, local buyers are getting a contract. Hey, let's try to, with talking to my wife, let's try to pre-approve and get some people on a down payment assistance. That's how we keep this business alive, because someday they're going to refinance or trade up.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, speaking of your wife, so obviously you work with
Yep.
family. Okay.
Yep.
So I want to dive into this one here. Some people are scared to do it. Some people, that's what their business is based off of. So I kind of want to hear what you have to say about this. So is she the only family member that you work with?
Yeah, sort of.
Okay. Well, dive into it for me. Someone
Yeah.
working with family, give me the dynamics of this.
Yeah, yeah. So I grew up in a family business. My mom and dad worked together, ran retail stores. That's how I got into retail. And it wasn't always pretty. I can tell you that. And it certainly wasn't always, pretty in the beginning, like working out. I mean, here you're waking up with this person. One thing we don't do most of the time is ride to work together. We
Okay.
actually take separate cars. Okay. And we like to go in the office. Mostly we're here, like I'm in the office today, and I like to work in the office. It's important for me. And she does too, but there are days, we don't work in the office together. But when we were on the direct side, um, we had no choice. We had to report for duty for the most part. So we worked together a lot, and we had a lot of different ideas. And I would definitely have oh, well, I've been in this business. I'm the
Right.
boss, right? And made me really close-minded, because she was like this hungry, I'm going to prove myself, I've been at home, and she had a lot of good ideas, and but I was super, oh, that's never going to work, I was that guy, I was the wet blanket, and man, she's just proved me wrong so many times, and it's great. And I'd say, well, we've probably been doing this for like 5 years now, and the arguments and all that, like, kind of meshing, it takes a minute. And I think, you got to work it out. You got to know when to walk away. You got to know when to say, okay, let's give that a shot. Um, just so many things, old school, Christmas cards. She's very, she's great. At that. And in the beginning, before it got like crazy busy, she would just be great. Oh, hey, Joe wants to meet you for coffee. She'd call these realtors, and that would be stuff I'd be like, that's never gonna work. And man, that's just proven me so wrong. I mean, I got a guy that we closed this guy. He's a local builder, like a small builder in town.
Mhm.
And we closed a purchase. Somebody bought, and he was on the other side. He was, he had a realtor handle the transaction, but he was just uh, happy with the transaction. And, I was like, oh man, it'd be so great to get in with him. That was my thinking, but I wasn't really, I mean, I probably, when we closed, I always call and say, thanks, it was a great transaction, blah, blah, good luck with your future business endeavors. Hey, let's get a coffee. And I kind of just leave it at that. They're like, oh, sure. But Kasha is calling them and setting up the appointment.
Nice.
And yep. I mean, and so like she would take that lead, and she would did that over and over. So this guy ended up, it was even like maybe a year or two later where he built these 2 duplexes with hard money. And he's like, I need to refinance this. And then we refinanced them, and that was while we were at the direct lender. And I just refinanced them again now, some good rates, and he needed some money for some other projects. So we needed to drop his payments so he'd qualify, and we got him that money and refinanced. And so we just did 2 refinances for him literally in the third quarter. And now he built a second home with him and his brother. It's a team brother. And so right now I got two in a pipe with him, and it's just like, I would never have pursued that.
Right.
I would have wanted to in my head. Oh yeah, it'd be great. Get together for coffee and lunch. But having somebody in the back just like make sure that was going to happen was huge. And then her sphere of influence, between her mom's, her mom sending people over and stuff. It's just been super impactful. We send Christmas cards out, and it's never a pitch. It's from the Green family, to everybody, and, clients and stuff. And I just think they end up feeling like family, and we feel like family, and we want the best for them. Like, this guy, I have to tell him, like, I told them, I said, we're on the roller coaster together. I want it just as bad as you. And it's not, it's not a financial thing. It's like, I want you to get this house.
Right.
It's, this American dream, and you got to help people make that dream come true. So I have a simple motto, help people get things done, and that does not just apply to this mortgage business. It just applies. Hey, you got a question, you need you want to redo your bathroom? I got a guy for you. You want to, you need a financial planner? I got a guy for you. You need whatever, over time, people come to rely and trust on you, and you're able to like connect people and just be that person who helps people get things done. And it's weird. So it's like you come here and help people get things done without any motive other than to be of service.
Yep.
And, the universe just kind of ends up taking care of you. And like, we're just, I got fired from that job, and things fell apart in my marriage. Like I got caught up in the whole, I was going to make all this big money. I took money out from my house, opened a little office and stuff. And, the market imploded. So, the timing was horrible. It took a huge financial toll. It took a huge emotional, personal toll on my wife and the kids and all that, and, when I started back in the mortgage business, 9 years ago, literally I didn't have two nickels to rub together, man. And it's so weird. And it took mentorship. It took, like the guy that told me, hey, maybe you can make 200, or another guy, when I was getting really frustrated and I'd made like 18,000 in 6 months. And then this second year, and he was like, it's going to take 2 years, just hang in there. And he was right, and I listened. I started really listening to people instead of like thinking, oh, I got it all.
Yeah.
Figured out, and that's what happened with the wife, right? Like, oh, even though I want to be hard headed and think I know better, I just started, boom. And, the more kind of power and trust I had in her, like the tide rose, like she just went for it, and she ended up getting licensed when we were at the shop. So she became a loan officer. Now when we came over here, she got a real estate license so she could broker. It's like turned into a really beautiful partnership, and it's strengthened our marriage. When COVID started and we were home all the time because we were still working, we realized, oh my God, my communication really sucks. It's great with clients and shit, but in a marriage, and that's why, I have failed marriage. And so like, we did some therapy. We worked on our relationship, and it's helped at home, and it's helped, with blending a family. It's helped with business, and so, you got like, how am I going to grow? How am I going to grow? So it's not just how am I going to create this new revenue funnel, but, if we're happy in our marriage, like it comes out at work.
Yeah.
It's pretty phenomenal, actually. So it's like I've learned to form a true partnership, and there's still a lot of work and still a lot to learn. You ever heard that saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
My mom would tell you that right now. She's never learned to use a computer, or anything, right? She can't text or nothing, right? She totally bought into that idea. You can't, and it's a lie.
It is. You gotta learn new tricks.
Yep. So I hope I never stop, growing and just being really enthusiastic, about the business and stuff. And maybe when I'm not, I have 5 kids and a stepson, and I'd love to just be able to back out someday, but so far none of them are interested. But I am 1099 a couple of them. I make them pull in apps because they're in college and they need college money. I'm like, whenever I get a new app, you got to at least process it and run the credit, So
Yeah.
they make a lot of money doing that.
Well, it sounds like working with family is working out for you, and I'm really happy for you on that side of things. So, we're gonna start to close this down here. I know you're busy, you got a lot going on. We all have a lot going on still. I mean, we're still blessed to be in this industry, but you know, I always leave this open for my guests here. If you want to the floor is yours. Give advice to this entire community. What's one piece of advice you would give to this entire community with what you've been through?
One piece of advice. I mean, I guess I was given three pieces of advice in the beginning. When I was making the transition out of retail and coming back into mortgage, I sought out some advice. So, hey, seek out advice. It's a great idea. And I have a very, very extremely successful cousin. Okay, lives on the East Coast, not in this industry, but just really smart. And so I did. I sought out his advice. I'm saying, what's it going to take to be successful? Just in general. I probably should ask you, but he gave me basically three things. You got to take a chance. You got to take a risk. Whether that be buy leads or just take a chance and join this industry, right?
Right.
And go for it. You got to work hard. I mean, there is no doubt. I mean, we work hard, really, really hard. It's just not going to happen. At least for me, I've never been that guy that I had to work hard. And you gotta be able to get the client to say yes.
Yeah.
You got to figure out how to get to yes. And I think for us, we've been very blessed. We get a lot more yeses than nos. I mean, obviously every once in a while you're going to get rejected, and that no is going to be that much closer to the next yes. So really, it's those three things, man. Take a chance, work hard, and figure out how to get your client to say yes. And those are the things that have been working for me for a decent amount of time now. So
that's perfect. I absolutely love those three pieces of advice, and you're right. I like that last one. How to get to yes. I mean, that one's really cool. So, hey, Joe, listen, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you. I think the title of this actual podcast right here for you is like trust and communication. I mean, that's what I got out of you a lot. Obviously, it's great that your clients trust you and you over communicate, which you can never over communicate enough. And I'm telling everyone that, you can never over communicate enough. So just want to thank you for your insights today. You did a great job. And, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, Mark, thanks for having me. It was actually fun, something out of the ordinary. So it's a good way to start off the week.
Absolutely. So, all right, brokers, if you want to get caught up on all of our past podcast episodes, please head over to aimgroup.com/broker to broker. You can find all of our podcasts on there from season 1, season 2. You also can listen to any of these broker to broker podcasts on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, anywhere else where you can download podcasts. Do me a favor, please rate it, leave a review, subscribe to it. It helps us get the podcast out there and spread the word that brokers are better. Joe, you're one of those. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Mark. Have a great day.